All right, here we go. Last week I talked about being intentional and about having purpose and about you'll notice I don't look like I'm in a dungeon anymore. I've got some awesome camera stuff given to me, like this black thing behind here, which is really sweet. It makes it look like a little more pro. I've got some nice lights which are blinding the heck out of me, but at least you can see my face a bit better. And I prepared a little more this time than last time. But in light of last time, because I want to be purposeful, because I want to be intentional and do things that I think I want to do, I'm doing another video. So this one we're going to be talking about what Jesus actually thinks of people. You know, I'll start it off with a story. I go out every Thursday night, usually, to Winnipeg, usually around Portage Place area, Central Park. And what we do is we go to people there, and there's a large homeless community and impoverished community out there. And so we go down there and we just talk to people, we pray for them. We bring them, man, it varies from purses with all the stuff girls like in there, to toques, to mitts, to food, whatever it is. And we go downtown and we just minister and we love on people and we treat them like they're valuable. And so one day we were down there and there's a gentleman who comes with us every single time. Well, he doesn't come with us. He shows up every single time. He's seen us down there and he kind of gets critical. He's very critical of what we do. He's very critical of God. He's very critical of what he views Christianity as, of Jesus, of all that stuff. And he comes to give us a really hard time, and he does. And I've started striking up conversations with this guy because, you know, he's an individual who's loved by God as well. But we were standing in the food court one day, and we were looking at all the people who were there. And I mean, there's tons of homeless people, and lots of people making their way between the free meals they're getting throughout the day, whether it's at Siloam Mission or Lighthouse Mission or wherever they're coming from, wherever they're going. These people come and they basically pass through Portage Place at some time. And so they're all there, and I just bought some people a meal. And I stepped back and was just looking, and this guy who comes every week to criticize us come and stood beside me, and he says, in a horrible tone, he said, How can you come and help these people? Look at these people. They're bums. They're pigs. They're gross. Like, it's disgusting. How come you come and help them? And my perspective, I was standing there. And it's the grace of God, man, because I am just as capable of having that perspective. But all I saw was people who didn't know their value, people who don't know they're loved, people who have been lied to and abused their whole lives and been convinced that they're trash. So they're acting like it. That's what I saw. I saw people who had value. And that's not because I'm so amazing, but it was amazing to me that you could have two men standing looking at a similar situation, and they both had exactly opposite interpretations of the circumstances that were going on. They were both making observations. They were both looking at what was in front of them, and they both made completely opposite judgments. And so I just want to share with you today Luke chapter 15, getting into the Bible. Hopefully I didn't lose you, but Luke chapter 15. Jesus talks about, basically I'll set the stage for you. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to him, to Jesus. And the Pharisees and the scribes grumbled, saying, This man, speaking of Jesus, receives sinners and eats with them. So the righteous religious community of the time came to Jesus, and they pointed out to everybody else watching that this man, he's bad, he's guilty because he eats with sinners. He eats with people who are less than. He eats with the bums of society, the prostitutes, the drunkards, the sinners, right? And so Jesus proceeds to tell three parables, and you may be familiar with them. The parable of the lost sheep, the parable of the lost coin, and the parable of the prodigal son. And we have God really revealing his heart for every single human being through these parables. You know, it can be so easy to be self-righteous and to see, look at these bums, look at these pigs, look at how gross these people are. Like the gentleman at the mall that I see occasionally. It can be so easy to make that snap judgment, but we see God's heart here in that, yeah, God sees them, But he's not seeing what we're seeing a lot of the time. God still sees, like, the coin's lost, but the coin's still a coin. It still has value. The sheep's lost. It's not with the rest of the herd, but the sheep's still valuable. The son left the home. He was gone, but he was still a son. He was still valuable. So we see in these parables Jesus' heart for lost people, whatever you want to call it. Whether you see them as lost coins with value or you see them as dirty bums not worth saving. In either case, we'll justify the reason why we hold the view we do, right? We're going to justify why we think that way. And directly related to our perspective will be our actions. If you think people are trash, you think people are dirty and disgusting, you're going to treat them like that. You're going to see them like that. If you see people like Jesus sees them as lost coins, as lost sheep, as lost sons and daughters who don't know who they are, they don't know what they're doing, they need their value and their dignity given back to them, then you're going to treat them that way. And so this is why Jesus is so amazing to me, because Jesus reveals, like, a large portion of the gospel and what we believe has to do with our perspective on life and how we see things. You know, without seeing things the way God sees them, it's incredibly easy to get hopeless. It's incredibly easy to get forlorn and bored and guilty and disdaining and sarcastic and selfish and blah, 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 blah. It's so easy to get all those things. But what the gospel gives us the right to see from God's perspective again. And God's not thinking the way we're thinking a lot of the time, guys. He's not. When we start seeing things the way God sees them, we can live from hope, we can live from purpose, and we can live from love again. And I mean, I think Jesus portrays very clearly what he thinks of lost people. He loves them. He thinks they're amazing. He thinks they're valuable. He thinks they're worth pursuing. He thinks they're worth searching out and worth risking it all for. Like the one about the lost sheep, where the shepherd leaves the flock to get the one. That's ridiculous. He's willing to risk the 99 to go after the one just to get that one. Like, it's worth it to God to sacrifice himself, really, to take risks, to go into situations that are crazy, to rescue people. It's worth it for him because they're valuable to him. And so I just want you to know, if you're feeling crummy today, I would encourage you to take this verse extremely personally. Luke chapter 15. Take it extremely personally, because you're the lost coin, you're the lost sheep, you're the prodigal son, you're the one God was searching out. You're the one he was seeking out. And if you feel dirty, if you feel lost, if you feel gross, if you feel shameful, if you feel any of those things, Jesus himself wants you to know that you are valuable, you are worth pursuing, and his heart is for you. He's not against sinners. He's not against lost people. He's not against bums and liars and cheats and thieves and prostitutes. He's not against those people. He loves them and he pursues them and he gives up his own life for them. So guys, I just want to encourage you with that today. You know, Jesus is amazing. He's misrepresented a lot of the time, but it's worth going after him and it's worth gaining that perspective. So I just want you guys to know that, again, I love you. Go get him. Go do something that's scary today. Bless those who curse you. It's the way of Jesus. Love you. Checking out. Peace. That was so lame. That was so lame. Oh.